You're listening to the Impact Implosion on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It is October 16th, 2015, and it is another episode of the Impact Implosion here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. As always, I am Seth Draken, and on the other end of the tin cannon string is Mike Pullen.
Hello, hello.
Boy. So, news, a bit of news. We had Hogan's restaurant closed down.
What you gonna do, brother, when your restaurant closes on you?
Yep, the freaking
I can't think of anything else to finish that joke with.
They stole my cape. That's why the restaurant's gone.
Maybe IRS came after him.
Drew Galloway, according to a recent interview, which was done after Bound for Glory, actually, many of the are you not on the fans who hate TNA? Are they not watching the product? Whenever I speak to them and whenever I do indie shows, they say, "Oh, you're doing great work here," and I'm like, "Thank you." And then they ask, "So what about TNA? It's not too great right now." And I'll ask them a couple questions just to see if they are actually watching, and they're blatantly not watching. That's generally the case I found. Well, we hate the product, and guess what? We're watching.
I don't hate it. I just don't think it's great.
It's not
2005, 2006 TNA.
Yeah, it's not doing too great, TNA.
Especially when you see stuff like Shearer versus Crazy Steve, which we'll talk about in a minute.
And especially this news, where talent is reaching out to other promotions for work because of that cancellation of the tour.
Mm-hmm. Robbie E is booked for Northeast Wrestling shows in New York later this month and on November 6th.
Sources at WWE, Lucha Underground, New Japan, and AAA all confirmed getting phone calls from some TNA talent inquiring about the possibility coming in.
Uh-huh.
So Lucha Underground
they want to jump off the Titanic.
AAA reportedly want talent that already has experience in Lucha style.
Well, so, you know.
Yeah. By the way, TNA blamed the live events cancellation on logistical problems. That the advances on ticket sales were fine.
What were the logistical problems exactly?
But in an update, in fact, they were not fine. They sucked.
Gee, I wonder why.
And they were told talent they were going to get partial pay for those dates, although not a lot.
Just partial.
Yeah. So, TNA lying, bunch of bullshitters. How long before Bob Ryder decides to spin this as, "We're on fire, our talent are so great, other companies from all around the world are on trying to steal them away"? They're the ones picking up the phone. They're the ones calling you. You're the ones calling them. Not the other way around. So, yeah, that was stupid. So, let's get to the show.
Yes, we have the same Bound for Glory highlights we started off the show with last week.
I was like, Jesus, are you showing this again? Are we going to see this Are we going to watch this every freaking show?
Just in case you missed it for the last 2 weeks. And then we get the reveal of the next 16 people.
Yep.
We have the TNA Originals bracket. We have the TNA Originals bracket, which is Rude, Young, Storm, and Abyss.
We have Group X Division.
The X Division champion Tigre Uno, Manic, DJZ, and the fourth man is Mandrews.
Mark Andrews. We were wondering where he was. And then we have Group Future 4.
Crimson, Jesse Goddard, Eli Drake, and the guy that we forgot was even in the company still, Micah.
Yeah. And Group Tag Team Specialists.
Matt Hardy, the Wolves, and Robbie E.
Yep.
One of these things is not like the other.
Or they
just don't have a big tag team pool in TNA anymore.
This is basically Hardy's to win. That's the only reason it's there.
Yep. If you can't see what they're telegraphing, the guys that will dominate the series are Lashley, Hardy, and probably Shearer.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate that Shearer's going to go anywhere in this thing, but
Fucking
we'll get into him in a little bit.
Yeah. So, then,
start with Matt
by the
Hardy
way,
and
Josh
Davey
talks,
Richards.
we saw Matt Hardy come out, and Josh talks about all the integrity and honor Matt has. Bullshit! Sorry, I'm allergic to BS.
Integrity and honor and screwing over of an undefeated wrestler.
Oh, and they also talked about Robbie E. calling out Rob Gronkowski and saying, first of all, yeah, Gronk would kick your ass. And Robbie E. says, you're going to lose to the Cowboys. They didn't.
You're a week off there, Rob.
They actually beat him pretty cleanly. And by the way...
You're not even from Dallas, dude. You're from Jersey.
And they said, next week, let's see if Gronk's going to answer the challenge. Spoiler, he doesn't show up. So Robbie E. will say he's scared. So
he's got more important things to do.
Yeah, let me see. His team's 4-0. He's not going to waste his time with a clown like you. And first match, tag team specialists with Matt Hardy versus Davey Richards. Guess who wins here?
This was good.
Yeah, this was good. Oh, and
as you would expect from the two win it.
Pope says Matt has to go through all of this again, and I'm like, Pope, he had everything handed to him.
I want to say that Josh Matthews calls Pope the most entertaining commentator in wrestling, and I'm thinking, well, you're not really that much to compare him to these days.
Yeah, and now has to earn it. He hasn't had to go through this all over again. He has to finally earn it.
He's not just grandfathered in.
Yes, by the way, Michael Cole has vintage. Pope has classic.
At least he's not calling everything a souffle.
I don't think he actually said souffle this week, which was weird.
He didn't use it in a couple weeks. He didn't use it last week either.
Yeah. So Josh is like talking about, like, everyone was talking about Rude and Lashley, and the result of the main event has been trending for 2 weeks. And I'm like, stop lying.
About Rude and Lashley, really.
And the result of the main event last week hasn't been trending for 2 weeks. It hasn't been trending at all.
Because nobody cares.
Yes. Anyway, Matt Hardy wins with a twist of fate to get 3 points. Hashtag Matt for Chump.
Next.
We saw a video package of the greatness of beer money. Too bad we will never see that again.
Build up for the main event, which we'll talk about later.
New TNA sponsor, Cat Litter.
Because, why not?
Then we saw a round table of Tigre Uno, DJZ, Mark Andrews, and Manic. I call him Mark Andrews. I'm not calling him that. Fuck that.
Man plus Andrews equals Mandrews.
M-A-M Andrews. That's why they call him Mandrews.
Yes, unclever spelling.
Yes. So anyways, Tigre Uno hates DJZ. DJZ thinks Mark Andrews is British Dennis the Menace, and Manic calls him Bart Simpson.
So we got 2 cultural references from 20 years ago out of this segment.
Yes. Also, time for Aiden O'Shea.
Wait. If Mark Andrews is Dennis the Menace, then who's Mr. Wilson? Anyway, Kenny King versus Aiden O'Shea. This was not good.
Aiden O'Shea, who is Jay Bradley without the Irish accent as an Irish fighter.
And Jay Bradley is still terrible. Anyway.
Well, actually, no, I kind of like him. Versus Kenny King, now ROH superstar.
Yeah, so
and at least they're admitting Aiden O'Shea is from Chicago and not Ireland.
An Irishman from Chicago.
By the way, they showed the round table here, and Aiden O'Shea admits that Kenny King is too pretty.
He's too pretty. He should have been a girl.
I know. He's somebody else. He talks about all his opponent. This guy's too something. This guy's too something, and Kenny King's too pretty to win this thing. And Kenny King's like,
this guy can't talk.
well, he is right. I am too pretty.
This guy can't talk in reference to Crazy Steve. This guy sucks is Shira, which is right. And this guy's too pretty is Kenny King.
Yeah.
Of course, in order to talk, because apparently Crazy Steve's a mute, he just blows the horn.
Yes.
And Shira just says, I'm Shira.
Yeah.
I'm Shira, and I will win. And then I will go back to work at the 7-Eleven.
I am like good wrestler.
Not quite. Why do you sound like Indian Maurice?
I know. Anyway, Kenny King wins, gets the 3 points.
As he should. Next match.
And nice they gave him a win when he is well on his way in ROH.
Yep. We have a promo from Eric Young backstage.
The world title goes through me. And so it has always go through me. Ask EC3. And I'm like, the world title never went through you, except when you won it and lost it to Franklin the Turtle.
When you won it when you shouldn't have.
Yeah, because Daniel Bryan won, and they wanted to capitalize off that because he's a bearded man underdog.
Sound logic, except, yeah.
And then, quick, we got to recap a match 2 matches ago because people might forget already.
Short, insult your audience's intelligence. No wonder your ratings are low.
I know. EC3 gets a special interview via Skype. This should be fun. They announced that, but the TNA Originals Roundtable, Eric Young pisses off
everybody.
No, I think
Rude.
Rude pisses him off. Rude says this guy's too mentally unstable to advance, and Eric's
unstable.
I'm gonna fucking remember that. I'm gonna remember that. You're the one that's gonna go down. And then same thing happens with Storm and Abyss, where each say the other one's going down.
Of course, we're not Abyss and Storm. I don't think cross paths in this thing.
Well, no, they have to. They're in the same bracket.
Not listening to spoilers of any of these tournaments. So either somebody's a lazy reporter or they didn't cross paths.
Or they have Storm taken out backstage or something.
Yeah. He can't make the match.
Yep. So, time for Eric Young versus Abyss. This time it will be a regular match and not a Monsters Ball.
And they go into a commercial break 30 seconds in.
Oh, yeah. And nice to Josh to mention that the Kurt Angle match, and they're like, Kurt was hurt, the match was over.
And then
Eric Young, and then Kurt Angle miraculously won. And I'm like,
Super Angle.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that the match was ended. And then Kurt won.
For mentioning the burial of a good heel character. Nice job.
Yeah. So Abyss comes out, shoves the cameraman, and he does this every time he sees him, and I'm like, what's his deal?
He hates cameras.
Yep. No cameras!
He's like a groundhog.
Yeah. So Abyss grabs Janice, and I'm like, no, Abyss! Janice always screws you over!
I thought that was Graham's girl.
Yeah, and of course it screwed him over again.
Oh, of course it screws him over. You hit somebody, as I said many times, you hit somebody with that, they're not going to be living anymore.
Yeah. Eric Young goes for the low blow and hits a low blow and
elbow.
Top rope elbow, but only gets a 2 count. But Abyss wins with the Black Hole Slam and gets 3 points.
Black Hole Slam.
Won't you come? You wash away the fun. Black Hole Slam. Won't you come? Won't you come?
Eric Young.
EC3 on Skype says he should be
good. I like this.
And every time Josh tries to ask a stupid question, he calls him out on it. As he should. So then we get EY backstage.
I'm not behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, not behind the 8 ball. What is this, a billiards reference or a freaking or a freaking ball? Like, is EC3 going to win? Yes.
Yeah. So we have an Eric Young promo. Everyone's out to get him.
Everybody's out to get him, even though you're in this tournament after betraying the company, you are getting off easy.
And we have a Davey Richards promo for some reason.
Oh, and we had a Abyss promo, too. I don't remember.
I'm going to win this tournament because,
Yeah, whatever. Robbie E versus Eddie Edwards. Eddie really needs to win here.
It's fine.
Robbie E wins. And
They gotta give him one.
And I facepalm.
Robbie E wins after a good competitive match.
By the way, I like they mentioned this, and Robbie E talks about how everyone considers me a joke. You got to remember, I was a former X Division champion. I was a part of the bromance. I'm like,
that's why they consider you a joke.
That's why we consider you a joke. You were part of the bromance. That's why we laugh at you. And he doesn't mention the TV title that he had. Never mentions that. Oh boy, we just lost 5-0. Blue Jays just lost.
And what's next on the show? The Mahabali Shira match?
Next is a video package showing
somewhere in this show.
Video package shows Rude's loss to Austin Aries to end his first reign, then second world title reign, and then now his King of the Mountain title reign. Then Rude cuts a promo about how both him and Storm have changed since Beer Money days, and tonight will be about who wants it more.
And next we have Shira versus Crazy Steve, which is about
actually after this,
Shira does one move.
I took an intermission from this and watched I Am Big Bird, the Carol Spinney story. Great documentary, by the way, about the guy behind the Big Bird costume.
Shira can't wrestle. Crazy Steve can't wrestle.
No, actually,
we put him in a match.
Next was the round table where Eli Drake freaking owns everybody.
Eli Drake is money.
Yes, he is awesome at promos and owns everybody. And this
has the look. He's great at promos. We just need to see more of him in the ring.
And he pisses everyone off who vote him to be the least likely. As they want to kill him. All three of them. Even Jesse wants to fucking kill him.
Much unlike Robbie's group, Jesse is not the least likely.
Yeah.
Even though he's the one with the least talent.
I know. But yeah, well, it wasn't really about it's not the least likely. They all did it because Eli Drake pissed them off. That's all it was. And I like that they said, and Eli Drake said, I don't know why Mike is pissed at me.
Because you turned on him in front.
I know. And Mike is like, no, he hasn't done, he's like he said, he hasn't done anything. And he looks at him with a smile. Like he knows. Like I know.
You stole my bike. Oh wait, that's a different gimmick. Sorry.
When the heck did he become Francis Buxton? When the hell did he become Francis Buxton from Big Adventure?
No, that's Camacho.
No,
you rode the bicycle.
I was thinking Francis Buxton for Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Somebody stole my bike.
So anyway, now it's Crazy Steve versus Shira, and this sucked. And then notice P&A people are focusing on people doing the Shira Shake, and then when you look at most of the crowd, they're doing nothing. Well, there's a good reason for this. This was taped.
The thing, as I said a minute ago while we were talking about the other stuff, you have one guy in Shira who can't wrestle. You have one guy in Crazy Steve who can't wrestle. If you do math, what happens? Let's put him in a match.
Yep. Oh, and this match was done before Shira turned heel. He was still Koya. So yes, nobody was rooting for him. Everyone was booing him, and those people doing the Shira Shake were from his last match.
Just kind of hologrammed in like Bray Wyatt does.
They just inserted in people from last match because, oops, we taped this match before he turned heel or turned face.
Luckily, this match is only like 90 seconds long.
And by the way, we had a Crazy Steve chant, so Shira can't get over with this crowd more than a fucking clown. And then Josh asks the stupidest question I have ever heard. Really? He asked Hope, what would Conan O'Brien and Jimmy Fallon do with Crazy Steve if he won the world title?
A, that's not going to happen, and B, I don't know if that would be good. That wouldn't be good TV.
You want to know my answer? Nothing, as they don't even know what TNA is.
They're not getting Abyss for a guest. They get John Cena for a guest if they have wrestlers on.
Yes, they get Cena. They get guys who actually mean shit. So, Shiro wins a short match, but it was still fucking terrible as Shiro's more focused on his goddamn mustache.
-5 stars.
And then TNA tries to sell their knockouts calendar. Still.
Nobody's buying it. The women might be hot, but nobody's buying it.
Yes. So, anyway, next week's main event will be Franklin versus EC3, and we get a Franklin montage with some new music.
Also, Aries and Anderson.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, this is what you do with Franklin. You don't have him talk, you have him kicking ass in the gym.
You show video packages.
You show him being a beast. Don't let him talk.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. That's what you do mostly with Lesnar.
So you have Heyman talk.
Yeah. So main event time as James Storm faces Bobby Roode.
This is a good match, as usual with these two.
They at least hype this up, and James Storm tries to get Roode to join him in a beer money chant, and Roode declines. And that pisses the crowd off. Because they keep rooting, let's go Cowboy. And James Storm, every time that happens, has to try to make them hate him.
You still have a good match, although much like the match with, who was it? Abyss and Eric Young, they go to commercial like 20 seconds in. Yes. After the first move.
And
Roode hit the shoulder block, we gotta go to commercial.
Because, and apparently, TNA only wants James Storm back because of this NXT thing that's going to happen next week, and because they need someone to put over Shira in India.
And Storm said, fuck off, I'm not going back.
I'm sure he'd be like, dude, you want me just to put over somebody? You don't have nothing else for me? Why the fuck would I do that?
Even if it's less money, I'm going to NXT. Where
he already put the motherfucker over. He put him over on his way out. He already let him beat him.
Yep.
Yeah. Christ.
Sorry, TNA, you lose again.
So then they say 5 minutes left in remaining time limit, so we are threatened with another draw. We get Storm brings a chair in the ring. He gets stopped. Roode grabs the chair and thinks about it, using it. The ref grabs the chair. As the ref's putting the chair back outside, Storm hits Roode with the cowbell.
Roode needed more cowbell.
Yep. Only got a 2 count. Storm then goes for the Eye of the Storm, but it reverses into one of Roode's old finishers, the Fisherman Buster, and Roode wins.
Perfect flex.
Yeah. And he gets
the Fisherman Buster, Josh Matthews. Fisherman Buster is totally different.
Yeah, it was the perfect. You're right. He called it a Fisherman's Buster.
Fisherman Buster, you don't actually go into a pinning combination with.
No, you don't. But you are right.
That was a very awkward finish because Roode hasn't used that as a finish in many years.
Oh yeah, but actually I was okay with that because it is still it's nice to bring out the oldies.
Right.
For once in a while. Don't bring up the fucking Cena move that he does.
Yep. The Roode Bomb, which is a terrible name for finish. But in any event.
That was the best match of the night. Not as good as last week's show.
Nope.
But I gave it a C-.
Had better matches.
And the sad thing is, it was mostly boring.
The problem is, it's probably going to get worse from here.
Uh-huh.
We're going to enter into the R.D. Reynolds Blade Braxton wrestle crap mode from here.
Why?
I don't know. We're going to have a lot of matches. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we're not going to have much storyline to them. We're just going to have matches. So, if you enjoy wrestling, this will be a kind of show now for you because it's starting to become more wrestling without much storyline.
Right.
But I guess you kind of want a mixture of both.
The problem is I don't know.
TNA can't do that storyline shit because they did all these matches and they need a way to put them in.
Yep.
So
that's all this tournament is, an excuse to air all these other 60-plus matches that they taped, and they're like, oh, wait.
And they didn't. I don't even think they finished this whole thing.
Nope.
So
that's why Abyss and Storm don't cross paths.
Yep. Because they're gonna say Storm got taken out somewhere, and Abyss wins by forfeit. Whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna get Storm back if that's all they want from him. They're not gonna get Kenny King back. He's gone. So he will probably have to lose a match too.
Yeah, it'll be Shearer probably.
Yeah.
They don't have Shearer and O'Shea facing off from what I noticed.
Yeah, but they're both going to be signed, so they might get them on the English tour in January.
That's when it's going to wrap up, huh?
In England, maybe, or India, whatever. They're going to wrap it up whenever.
Wrap it up. You got anything to sell?
No, I have nothing to sell right now. Just pissed my Blue Jays lost 5-0.
And neither do I.
So, with all that said, good night, folks, because I am already taking the dog for a walk.
So wrap.